This is the afternoon edition of the Weather Xtreme video for Monday, August 25th. I'm James Spann. Alabama's weather turning drier. Will be rain-free through midweek. Of course, the Labor Day weekend coming up. A lot of questions about that. The tropics somewhat active, so let's go in there and take a look with some of the Skycam shots around the network today. This is coming from our Skycam at Jasper in Walker County. A broken cloud layer, but the air underneath that getting dry. Dew points are dropping. Here's a look at the Tennessee River at Decatur and the Alabama River at Selma. And again, there, the sky partly sunny. The upper high weakening across the southern states. Still there, obviously. The storm track shunted well to the north. But again, the conditions have much improved today in terms of the heat. And we note a little feature in the northern Gulf. That's interesting. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. There's the precipitable water values this afternoon. Look at the gradient coming in from the east. Very dry air over the Carolinas and Georgia, pushing into East Alabama. And accordingly, really, the bulk of the showers this afternoon over in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas, where the moisture is deeper. And as the dry air takes over, a good chance we'll be dry through at least Thursday. And yeah, not as hot. Those numbers look a lot better. In fact, mostly 80s on the map at mid-afternoon. It's only 81 in Fort Payne, Anniston 84. The hot spot, Tuscaloosa at 91. But those numbers sure beat the upper 90s we saw late last week and early in the weekend. Still to the north of us, heat advisories from near Memphis up to Kansas City, St. Louis, and just south of Chicago. And in terms of any severe weather, just a slight risk of severe storms later today and tonight over the plains of Colorado, east and northeast of Denver. Overall rain for the next 5 days, not a whole lot. This is valid through Saturday morning, suggesting just a trace up in the Tennessee Valley. Mounts a little higher on the Gulf Coast, but don't panic if you got a beach trip. Will there be scattered storms down there? Absolutely, but not a washout type setup unless something of tropical nature happens to pop up down there that might change that. Speaking of weather in the tropics, the guys at NHC do not have any X identified over the northern Gulf, but I wouldn't be shocked if they were to stick one in there at some point in the next day or two, and we'll talk about that. We've got Cristobal is over the southeast Bahamas or near there, and we've got that little wave in the middle of the Atlantic, a 0% chance of developing in the next 48 hours, maybe beyond that, and that's a big maybe. You know, it's fighting the dry air. All of those things have been fighting this season. Cristobal is not very healthy. The center is basically exposed, and it never bodes well for a tropical system. If it can get its act together, it's going to move north and northeast, shooting the gap between the United States East Coast and Bermuda, and then moving up as a subtropical storm over the weekend in the North Atlantic. And again, that's no problems. Here's that little wave out in the middle of the Atlantic, and needless to say, with something like that, that doesn't look very impressive. Again, dry air is just all over this thing. If it can survive, here's a look at modeling on Invest 97. Many of the models have it near or just north of Puerto Rico in 5 days. Whether it keeps on trucking west-northwest or makes the turn north, we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And again, it remains to be seen if that thing can even survive. So nothing to worry about, just something to watch. The modeling on that, most models bring it up to a tropical storm. And again, we're watching this in the Gulf. You can see that disorganized cloud mass off the central Gulf Coast. I'm not saying something will develop down there, but the pattern seems to favor backyard development, if you will. And Labor Day weekend is coming up, so we'll watch that very carefully. But at this point, there's no organization. And over in the Pacific, there's a look at Marie. That's a big old bad hurricane east of the Mexican coast with sustained winds of 145 miles an hour. But it's peaked. It's on the way downhill in terms of intensity. It will weaken rapidly once it gets north of 25 north and become a depression. But the big swells from that will affect the coast of Baja California and Southern California, San Diego and Los Angeles later this week, despite it's going to stay way offshore. All right, model fans, the GFS, the 12Z run, valid tomorrow at 1 o'clock local time at 500 millibars. 591 heat ring over much of the eastern U.S., nice trough in the west. And down below that should be a sunny day. The humidity lower. High should be around 90. Same thing on Wednesday. We'll start today Wednesday morning in the middle 60s. That'll feel pretty good. Some of the cooler pockets up in northeast Alabama might make a run in upper 50s. High should be at or just over 90. Same thing on Thursday. Very dry air, mostly sunny. Again, high probably low 90s. And then Friday, moisture begins to come back. There could be an afternoon shower or storm in a few spots. All right, holiday weekend fans. We got 3 big holiday weekends in the summer, and man, they go by fast. We've had Memorial Day, 4th of July, now Labor Day. Wrapping it up, a nice trough beginning to come in from the west, and down below that, with the trough approaching, moisture increasing, that would clearly suggest a better chance of showers and storms. And again, we stress, this is not to say it's a washout. It's not. But could it rain a time or two? Absolutely. Maybe a thunderstorm. On Saturday, the high should be, I'd say, upper 80s, and the same thing on Sunday, and really the same thing on Monday, Labor Day. So each day the sun will be out at times. Each day we'll expect a passing shower or storm, a time or two. Highs 87 to 90 for the Labor Day weekend. And really the same thing for the Gulf Coast. I'll say, unless something develops in the northern Gulf we don't expect now, about 5 to 7 hours of sun each day with a few scattered storms about. Go out there deeper into September. This is September 5th. GFS develops a tropical system below Brownsville, Texas, moving into Mexico, but that looks fairly dry here. The end of the forecast on September 10th, heights below average over much of the country, which would suggest troughing west of here. And down below that, that looks rather uneventful. Temperatures over the next 15 days. You can see low 90s bubble up a time or two, but a lot of 80s on that map as well, which is a time I think we are past the peak of the summer heat. And that's a good thing. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video today. We'll have notes in the blog. Next video here by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you can, catch us this evening on the live stream or the television side, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless.